That's amazing. Put your hands together, folks. Make some noise for Scott McKinney!
Thank you very much. That just means that I'm used to disappointing rooms full of homosexuals at the same time. My name is Scott McKinney. It's so good to be here tonight. A couple of things about me. First thing, I'm Australian, which means, like my countrymen, I'm pretty laid back. I like to take things as they come. Second thing to know about me is that I'm gay, and that means that on some nights when the mood's right, I like to lay back and take things as they come. Now you might be thinking to yourself at this point, but Scott, you don't sound particularly Australian, and I just want to let you know that's because I was fortunate enough to receive an education. If you've met Australians, you know that that's not always the case. You might also be thinking to yourself, but Scott, you don't sound particularly gay, and that's homophobic. I'm just kidding you. I don't sound very gay because I've got a really delicate, soft palate and I had a super busy Thursday night. There's a third thing you could know about me if you cared to, and that's that I'm a cancer survivor. Thank you. I appreciate the sentiment. Didn't really have much say in it myself. Yeah, I grew up as a kid in Australia with hypochondria and an internet connection. So that just meant anytime I had the sniffles, I Googled it and found out I had cancer. And I was terrified the entire time. Growing up, I was like, I will give my left nut to not have cancer. And great news, in 2022, I got to do just that. Yeah, it was like a shitty reverse Make-A-Wish. Yeah, I was a wreck for the 3 weeks between when they found it and when they took it out of me. And about the only thing that calmed me down was meeting my surgeon, who was a lovely guy. He was like, Scott, this is a routine surgery. We're going to take out your bad testicle. And while we do, would you like a prosthetic? And I never considered this because I was too busy freaking out over the fact that I had cancer. So I asked him, what's a prosthetic testicle made out of? Am I going to clink every time I sit down? And he said, no, Scott, it's silicon, you'll be fine. And I'm sure I don't need to tell this room, but that just led to more questions about silicon, like, what's the wear and tear like? Gay men can be unexpectedly rough on your nuts. So I asked him, and he said, Scott, this is medical grade silicon. It's going to last longer than you do. In fact, if you really wanted to, you could slam it in a car door and it'd be fine. And I didn't want to at the time. But since it's healed, I'm kind of curious. But the only thing that's stopping me is that I don't know anyone in Toronto that owns a car. And I'm reasonably certain it's against Uber's terms of service. Then, I had some more questions for my surgeon at this point. They did seem inappropriate because they were mainly about texture and mouthfeel, and so far I haven't had any complaints, gentlemen. The next time I did see my surgeon was for the actual surgery itself. And I don't know if anyone's had major surgery recently, but they do wheel you into the operating room while you're awake for like a little safety briefing, because sometimes people die in routine surgeries. It's like terrible, but it happens. So that means that when they wheel you in, they go, are you the right patient for the right surgery? And you nod and go, yep, and then you try really hard not to think about the reason why they have to ask people that question. And then they go, in my case, which side are we taking out again? Because they don't want to have to see you twice, and I don't want to have to learn to sing in a new register. But it leads to this weird situation where the very last thing I heard before they knocked me out and started the surgery was the surgeon telling everyone in the room, today Mr. McInnes will be receiving a prosthetic size large. And that is the first time I knew that they had different sizes. At some point, some medical professional had sized me up without my knowing it, and they were going away from there. I mean, if I'd died on the table, I would have been pissed, but it's, a pretty nice thing to hear before you go. That's not even my favorite part about that surgery. My favorite part is that prosthetic testicle, that medical silicone, is flat when they install it, and during the surgery, they inject it with saline solution to match the size and shape of your other one, which means that I am dead to the world on the table, and there is a well-regarded, top of his field, exceptionally well-paid surgeon going, a little more? A little more. Stop. That's the perfect test. Look, this has been the story of how I lost Lefty. I do say lost. I know where he is. He's floating in a jar of formaldehyde on some researcher's desk, getting sliced open and genetically sequenced to try and find a cure for cancer. And I'm not saying I've got self-worth issues, but part of me does wonder if my left testicle is doing more for the world dead than the rest of me is doing while I'm alive. But a cancerous, pickled, dead testicle can't be here to tell you all jokes, so I think that I win. Thank you very much.
Hey, keep it going, everybody! Scott, that's what you think. Our next competitor is a dead pickled testicle.